God is stronger than death.
Give thanks to the Lord, for God is good.
Christ is stronger than death.
God's steadfast love endures forever.
The Easter Gospel according to Matthew, the 28th chapter.
Glory be to you, O Lord.
After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you are looking for Jesus, who is crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised, as he said. Come see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me. The Spirit is stronger than death."
Let everyone shout out, God's steadfast love endures forever.
Give thanks to the Lord.
God is stronger than death.
Christ is risen.
Christ is risen indeed.
The most ancient greeting in the church. You don't need a screen. You don't need a bulletin. You know how to respond. If you've ever been in a Christian congregation, when you ever hear somebody say, "Christ is risen,"
Christ is risen indeed.
yeah, there you go. You got the answer. But I want to continue this Easter 2020 message with a quote that may seem odd for such an occasion. It's a quote from Nigerian poet Ernesto Cardenal, who wrote in his collection Marilyn Monroe and Other Poems. He describes a roadside trash dump, which is a little bit beyond a monastery that he had been to. He writes this: "Behind the monastery, down by the road, there is a cemetery of worn-out things. There lie smashed china, rusty metal, cracked pipes, and rusty bits of wire, empty cigarette packs, sawdust, corrugated iron, old plastic, tires beyond repair, all waiting for the resurrection, like ourselves." I was moved by the line, all waiting for the resurrection, like ourselves. And perhaps that's how we're feeling this morning, as we've experienced the last days and weeks of being sheltered in place. We're all waiting for the resurrection. Perhaps you feel washed up, tossed aside, forgotten, like a piece of trash up on the scrap heap of humanity. Perhaps you're unemployed. Perhaps you've waited like countless others for a slot in a time when you can fill out an unemployment form. Perhaps you have loans that are due. We're all waiting for the resurrection. And we come to this Easter morning, and we thought we perhaps might be all gathered together, doing Easter hunts, having Easter breakfasts, seeing all the colors, seeing all the flowers, seeing all the wonderful banners. And we come and you're watching it on a laptop, on a phone, on a TV screen, all waiting for the resurrection. The Easter message is that none of us has to feel like this any longer. Because, get ready, Christ is risen.
Christ is risen indeed.
And that's what we're celebrating this morning. Not just that Jesus is risen from the dead, but we are celebrating what Christ's resurrection means for us. Right now, today. Right now, April 12th, 2020. What does it mean for Jesus Christ to have been risen from the grave? It enables us to live right now in this time of fear, anxiety, and hopelessness. Christ's resurrection is a promise for the present time. Jesus says, I am the resurrection and the life. Jesus did not say, I was the resurrection, that one time on Easter Sunday, 33, sometimes CE. No, Jesus says, I am, present tense. I am the resurrection and the life. Now the text that you heard Rachel read, thank you, Rachel, for reading that. I appreciate it. And in that text, Mary Magdalene and another Mary, they come to the tomb. You ever wonder why they came? These women who had witnessed Jesus being beaten, tortured. These women who had seen him bear his cross. These women who had seen him nailed to the cross. These women who literally probably caught him as he was let down, held him in their arms, comforted his mother, lifted him and laid him in his final resting place. Why did they come? Perhaps they came to finish preparations for the burial. Perhaps they came because they had unfinished business. Maybe they were searching for answers, for meaning. Maybe they felt that they hadn't said to Jesus all they wanted to say and they needed to tell him something, and they came to that place. You know what it's like when we go and lay our loved ones in their final resting places, wherever that may be. We want to be there just so that we can have one moment again. Maybe they just wanted to be in his presence for healing and strength. They came to grieve, they came to mourn. Except a heavenly being whose presence caused the guards to tremble in fear and play dead said, get out of here, get going, go. Tell his followers, tell his disciples, tell the men, women, and children who have been following him that he is alive. Go and tell the news. And so they go and they run. And you can almost see them as they're running down the path. They've got this great energy. They're shouting out that he is risen. God is risen. Our teacher, our rabbi, the one we love so dearly, who we thought was dead, is alive. And these women got up and ran. This morning, we need to shout like those women. We need to shout, Christ is risen. We need to say also that as Christ is raised from the dead, we are raised from the dead. We need to say this morning, I will rise, you will rise, and we will rise together in Jesus Christ. When we feel like darkness has closed in upon us, we need to say, I will rise. When we feel shackled by sin and brokenness, we need to say, you will rise. When we wake up every morning, sheltered in place, questioning if there will ever be joy in our lives again, questioning if it will ever be normal again, we need to say, we will rise together. All of us this morning on this Easter Sunday 2020, no matter the state of our lives, hear the message. If you are standing and you feel that there are nothing but broken dreams, that there is nothing but loss that surrounds you, know this: Jesus Christ is risen. I will rise, you will rise, we will rise together. Say it, believe it, live it. For the one who was despised and rejected said, I will rise. A man of sorrows, familiar with suffering, one who was pierced for our transgressions, one who was bruised for our iniquities, while enduring the sufferings, said, I will rise. He was like a lamb that was led to slaughter, except he kept his strength and demeanor. He said, I will rise. And when he faced his accusers, when the crowd shouted out to crucify him, when he saw nothing but rejection by those he had loved and cared for, he said, I will rise. No matter how much pain, no matter how much torture, no matter how lonely I feel, I will rise. He's the one, Jesus Christ, our Savior, our Messiah. And so when we feel faint and brokenhearted, remember, we will rise. When we feel tormented by temptation, remember, we will rise. Remember when we are sick and in pain, when we are hungry, naked, lost, and afraid. Remember, Jesus Christ is risen from the dead, and we walk with Jesus, and we will bring healing to the world, and we continue to bring forgiveness, and we will bring justice, and we will continue to bring new life. We rise with Jesus Christ each and every day. Amen.